message.
Intruder alert on deck 8. Enter authorization code. Command functions are offline. Automatic defense procedures initiated. Diagnostic complete. Sensors are functioning normally.
Welcome back to Star Trek Recovery. Here's your host, Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob Robot Shlomo, and I just watched Star Trek Discovery. This is like AA. We have to introduce ourselves and admit that we have a problem.
Also with us today is Andre. How are you, Andre?
Well, I was much better before I saw Star Trek Discovery.
Aren't we all? Or weren't we all?
You have that feeling of guilt and shame.
You're dirty.
Yes.
No, I don't actually. I only have a feeling of dread and despair for what is to come.
I feel pity and embarrassment for those who made it. Also with us today is Stephen Walton, the author and historian of The Phantom Menace.
Hi, thank you guys very much for having me. For anybody out there in the chat who does not know, The Phantom Menace Volume 2, Rise of the Rebellion, is available on Indiegogo. Please check that out. Thank you very much for having me, guys.
Absolutely. And also with us is Mecha Random 42. Say hello.
Hello. Do I get extra points for watching this twice? Because I watched it last night.
No, because nobody made you.
No, you get the question. What the hell did you do that for?
Sadomasochist?
Because I saw it come in last night, and I'm playing Fall Guys. I'm like, you know what? Let me go and watch it in the background, see how bad it is, so I can kind of assess myself when I review it myself. And like, oh, it was so. Well, we'll get into it, but yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh god. Well, you know what? This was made by only 20 producers this time.
Yeah, only 20. I made sure to count.
Big success.
Are you serious?
I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh
10,
my god.
Yeah, I'm like counting off the producers. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
I
my
do too.
How does it take 20 producers to make something this bad? No, it has to take 20 producers to make something this bad. I should say. No.
Well, what happens if you have 20 chefs in the kitchen? This is what happens.
But
yeah. Before we get into that, we have a couple of super chats already. I love Ryan Imikara sent us $2 saying Star Trek tertiary syphilitic dementia is here. I could use some of that dementia right now, actually.
Oh, you don't want this kind of dementia.
No. Can we commission a study and see if IQ points actually are lost after you watch this nonsense?
I'm almost guaranteed they are. And Sister Harrow, a great supporter of the channel, sends in $5 and says, "Don't be depressed. We have Lower Decks." I have to keep watching it, though. I have to finish watching Lower Decks.
You know what? First of all, thanks to Sister Harrow, but I will actually give you this because after I saw this, I saw the final episode of Lower Decks, and you'd think that like such a back-to-back would be the end of me, but actually Lower Decks cheered me up a little bit.
That has been the lesser of the. This is a reminder. Today was a reminder.
Lower Decks, I maintain, is the best Star Trek that we have gotten since Beyond.
That doesn't mean shit.
I'm not saying that it does, but I'm still saying that's the case.
That's a very low bar. Andre.
Polaris sucks sends in a Canadian $2, eh? Thank you so much. He says, you rock. So do the rest of you. STD sucks, though. Well, thank you. It's amazing. I got a fan.
I actually have the Lower Decks references video. I mean, that I put together. The references come pretty quick. I mean,
if I wasn't afraid of CBS, I'd have you show it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll make it available somehow. We not necessarily how, but somewhere. But I mean, it's almost.
I play them all the time. As long as they're less than 7 seconds, they don't usually bother me, and then I can just clap back.
I have a feeling though they'd really love to have a reason to come after us.
We may do it on Mead. I may show it on.
Yeah, Mead. Where nobody cares. Larry sends in a thumbs up, super sticker. Thank you so much. We're also waiting on another member of the crew. We never leave a member behind. That's right. Script Doctor's on his way. He's running into some rain on his way home, but hopefully he will get through. Speaking of Canadians,
We're like Sergeant Slaughter. Either we all go home or nobody goes home. Yeah.
Well, I mean, until it gets here, I could put on my Halloween script doctor avatar. This is my witch doctor avatar.
I told the witch doctor I was in love with you.
This is more fun than actually talking about Star Trek.
That's exactly what I was just thinking, Rob. You read my mind. I'd rather talk about anything but Star Trek Discovery because, as Andre was saying, that was the entire reminder I had watching this. Was like, I can't complain about Lower Decks as much anymore because this reminds me of how bad things were for so long. It was just like,
I don't see Lower Decks as any better though. It's not any better to me.
Well, as I was explaining to somebody, Lower Decks is basically, fart jokes, reference, Rick and Morty joke, fart joke, reference, fart joke, reference.
See, that's probably why I hate it so much.
Ends up with, all that means that it's not any better than Discovery. It's not. But you know what it is?
What?
It's less bad.
Yeah.
It's less bad, and it would be it would have been better received if Kurtzman Trek wasn't so awful.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. Because my point of view is that honestly, I've really struggled seeing the last few episodes of Lower Decks because I had to sit out the last couple of reviews that we did for other reasons.
I think you sat out all of them.
No. I sat out the last 3 of them. The last 3. And it just
you're talking about Lower Decks, yeah.
Yes. And the timing just didn't work. But like getting caught up, it was so freaking difficult. And it's not like it's long or something. It was just like so difficult to sit down and force myself to watch it. But the comparison with Star Trek Discovery made it almost enjoyable by comparison. Like
so it gave you
but yeah.
So it gave you mental hemorrhoids. You literally couldn't sit down and watch it.
His brain was bleeding.
Did you have to get Griftafil to watch it?
Yeah, no, I wasn't quite that bad. But what I will say is, like, if you have something that you really don't want to do, but you have to do it, and you try to like push it off for as long as possible.
Oh yeah, I have a couple projects. Yeah. I have a couple projects I have to take care of. I'm like, I really don't want to do them, but the more
like a colonoscopy.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, that was. Well, I won't get into that, but
and that's starting to look better.
Well, all I'll say is that I've been called a perfect ass before. Now I have scientific proof.
Oh yeah. Well, there's that. So you got that confirmation. That's something. But still, that's kind of like the thing that I feel with Star Trek here, and that's so bad because I love Star Trek and I have ever since I discovered it in the late 90s. So that's like a more than 20-year love affair, and right now I'm dreading each new episode. And then I think of what that asshat Kurtzman said at NYCC. What was it? That it was super important to keep the fans happy or something like that. These are new tunes.
Well, he didn't say the dedicated fans. He said the deep fans.
Oh yeah,
he basically laid out exactly everything that we've said is wrong with these shows. Basically, that first of all, you're trying to gain this new audience that doesn't exist or give a shit about Star Trek, which we knew that already. That he says like you said, the deep fans, which there's the member berries and shit like that in Lower Decks. But he's not stopping and thinking like this is not two things you mix together. You know what I mean? This is not chocolate and fish. And I know somebody out there is going to say there's chocolate fish. Okay, whatever. It's just like...
Well, no, but yeah, chocolate and peanut butter. Yummy. Chocolate and, and vinegar peppers.
Exactly. Like that's what it is. It's like you're mixing two things that don't belong together because the things that fundamentally you think are going to bring new people to the table are turning off the classic fans. Mm-hmm. And member berries are enough for some fans, but there's other fans that see through that for what it is. It's just, callbacks. Who gives a shit? Oh, I know what that is.
We also have people that are starving to like this and that will just take any excuse they can.
Mm-hmm.
And so those member berries mean a lot to them. And, bless them. If you get enjoyment out of it, good for you. But
yeah, but it doesn't mean you have to go and argue with people because you like it and they don't. I mean, if they're not bothering anybody, just like talking about it to their own little echo chamber on social media or on YouTube, even like why, like that's the biggest issue I always have.
Yeah. Well,
They always
yeah.
want to come to you. They always want to, they don't actually have any arguments for why they actually like this. They just want to call you names because you don't.
No, the argument for them liking it is that you dislike it. That's their argument.
Well,
and the other argument they have is, well, if we don't support it, then we won't get any more Star Trek. I'm like,
I have seasons and seasons on shelves. I don't need new Star Trek if it's going to be this. I can look at the old classic stuff and it doesn't tarnish my memory. And it doesn't send people like Chris Hunter to Facebook to send the mob over to my channel saying I'm the worst hater in Star Trek and to go leave nasty comments or leaving comments on my community section where he says he's going to kick in my viewers' teeth. I mean,
wow.
that's the whole difference here with bad Star Trek versus good Star Trek.
I can find you plenty of reasons why I dislike this. I can't come up with any reasons why I dislike TNG. Well, no, I can come up with reasons why I dislike aspects of like TNG or the original series, but there's more reasons I do like it than I dislike about it. Like I can say I dislike Wesley Crusher. I dislike, some of the it had some filler episodes and during each season, but overall, there was more. The good far outweighed the bad. This is just all bad.
But you don't have to go to somebody who say doesn't like it to justify you liking it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can just say, "Oh, you don't like it. Oh, sorry, you don't like it. It's it might not be for everybody," and you can move on with your life. You don't have to sit on their accounts for years on end, and you don't have to.
I always say, listen. As much as I love that, I love them more than life at times. Even the Beatles had their critics. Okay, I'm not gonna, if you don't like it, fine. You find something else you like. I will, and I always say I like plenty of bad stuff. I love the movie Sahara, but at the same time, I will not defend it as a good movie. Okay,
but the difference here, Rob, is you don't have another band coming out made up of a very diverse crowd of new people that you've never heard of claiming that this chick not only taught John Lennon how to write music, she's the reason he's so good.
Yeah.
Well, it comes down to company culture, the company culture that exists within the creatives right now. And that is to be anti-fan, to bash anyone that doesn't agree with your way of thinking. So that's the kind of fans that they've generated. They don't need an excuse. It's just that you don't co-sign to what they like. So they feel vindicated in coming after you.
It's so establishment. Yeah. It's so establishment-based corporate shills of people. I mean, this is why I say a lot of people shill for this, even if they're not getting the goodie bags, even if they're not, because they're just blindly listening to what mommy and daddy, the corporation, tell them is good.
So Tom, you're saying that Michael Burnham is really the Yoko Ono of the Star Trek universe.
Yoko Ono claimed to have been the inception for the original Beatles. Yeah.
I got the beat. If she was the one that claimed she got the Beatles together.
Yeah, if she's like, I was the one who told them to cut their hair. I was the one who told them to change it from do to yeah.
She's Clarence Walker.
Gentlemen, speaking of establishment, we actually have the establishment with us right now in Script Doctor. Welcome.
She love you. Well, she love you, man. She ticket to ride. Well, she got ticket to ride. The bitch don't care, man.
They took all my stuff out.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. What's going on, Script? Yeah, Thomas
R. Hart. Lousy weather as always.
Thomas R. Hart in the chat saying, "Don't give Yoko any ideas. Oh, she's too busy digging around the Dakota for something that John might have scribbled on in order."
Oh, didn't you see that yesterday, or not yesterday, but last week or whatever, for his birthday when they released his big box set, she got an equally important box set.
Of course she did. Of course she did. And it's just like 3 hours of outtakes of her going, "Oh my god."
Of course it is, but we're getting off.
We're getting off topic.
That's the thing. This show is that, though. That's the problem with this show.
We're gonna change it to Star Trek Off Topic.
It is. It should have been called Star Trek Off Topic, because even now, to get this back on track, and welcome, Script Doctor. Where this show begins is where the show should have started to begin with. And maybe, just maybe, there's an inkling of a chance that they would have brought me in with this idea and this concept, but there's nothing for me to hang on to. I don't give a shit if she finds the crew. I don't give a shit. I was more pissed that I had to follow Michael Burnham for an entire episode.
Oh God, yes.
And they act like she's Tony Stark, like she's like the linchpin of the entire universe.
Well, she's got Iron Man suit.
Yes,
She is
Well, that
Iron
one
Man.
guy does.
Yeah, and then we got Dime Store Idris Elba showing up.
But guys, before we begin, we have a couple of super chats to get through. So let's get through those, and then we can start dissecting the first episode of season 3 for real. Now, when we have a proper writer among us, something they most certainly did not have in the writer's room. I told you that.
That's for damn sure.
Well, Alex
Yep.
Kurtzman and Michelle Paradise co-wrote this. Imagine it took 2 people to write something this bad.
You can totally tell. But yeah, Captain
God, both of
Hare.
them?
To start us off, Captain Hare sent us $5 saying, "Little late, but I came into Rob yelling about the Beatles, so I apparently arrived at the perfect time to harvest the suffering."
He was making
Yes.
popcorn, evidently.
Yes, it does. And Evarians sent us $5 saying, "One of my dream guilty pleasure wishes would have been to see a movie that was a crossover between the Sahara crew and the National Treasure crew."
Well, now
Do you
that
have like that, Rob?
I don't know, I've never seen National Treasure, but I
Really?
want to see.
Really? That's
Really?
the-
I've
that's
never
the
seen
movie
National
that
Treasure.
Avoid the
Vince
sequel,
should
but
have
see the
been.
first one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a brilliant movie.
Yeah, Andre's right.
But now that Clive Cussler is no longer with us, I'm wondering if the estate is going to sell the movie rights again, try again. But that's a topic for another day. So I actually did write a script in the pre Midnight's Edge days about all the legal entanglements behind Sahara. It's actually a pretty fascinating story, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah. All right, moving on then. Dark Light Zero sent us £5 asking, "Do you dislike Star Trek The Next Generation Season 2 Episode 22? And that would happen to be the episode Shades of Grey. And the plot, this is basically the a bottle episode. I think it's like the one that's basically a clip show.
It's a clip episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a clip show episode.
Riker's in a coma.
Yeah, that's the one. And he was like screaming at
I'd
the end
rather
or
watch
something.
that.
I don't know if when you have TNG at its worst,
It's still better than this shit.
and
Yeah.
and as I will get into later, this is probably Discovery at its best. So
It's
which
still
is preferable. I still think I'll go with TNG at its worst.
I believe that
Absolutely.
episode was done cheaply to save money toward the end of that
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
That's
I was
what this
like,
episode feels
During the
like. But
writer's
we'll get
strike,
into that.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
Definitely
into this
during the writer's
episode.
strike at that time.
I felt that very much through this whole episode, like it was done on the cheap. But anyway,
Yeah, we'll get to it in a moment.
Michelle Yeoh, yeah.
Yeah. Tonister3 sent us $5 saying Michelle Yeoh character is the worstest ever.
Agreed.
So yeah. And Michael D. Falce, I guess, Falces, I'm sorry, sent us $5 saying Federation is destroyed. No Starfleet, Star Trek Federation based on the book would have been a great series. Give me Enterprise Season 5. Oh, hell yeah. And thanks to therapy, I'd take me Enterprise Season 5 any day. And I didn't miss it, I just gifted it deliberately. Christian Sander sent us €5 saying, even though it's coming out tomorrow here, Netflix Germany does not even have a hint at season 3 coming yet. I plan on watching your reviews only, by the way.
Well, thank you.
And thank you, vielen Dank. And with that, we are up to
Well, there's a
dates
couple more
on
that
the
came
super
in.
chats. Oh, okay.
Johnny
Well-
David, did you get this one from
Yeah,
Australia?
No, you have to take that one.
Good day from Western Australia. Well, good day. Live long and prosper indeed. Couldn't even finish Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Was literally unwatchable. Cheers. Did you get to the point where they had the baby head?
Johnny, I got up to Klingon time crystals and I switched gears and started watching reviews from these fine folks. I couldn't do it.
And then Lee Jordan sends in $4.99 to the Script Doctor. Welcome again. Saw your review on Lower Decks and how you compared Kurtzman and Secret Hideout to the Parklids. You nailed it. Which is funny because now I've noticed. Yeah, as I say, it's the Packlids or whatever. Yeah, because like I noticed that the Drekkies have been using that term quite often lately too. It's kind of funny.
Packlids. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, they repurpose other people's technology and try to gain power, and they ultimately fail in the end.
Yeah.
The irony.
Kind of like Rob.
Yeah, and with that, let's get into the review of this episode. So going back to our fans in Germany, Gott stehe mir bei, because here we go.
Prehistory, though, this is a reenactment of how we found Rob. And if you want that awesome shirt that he got, you can get that right in that link there.
Except I was face down.
Yeah, but we had to make it look better. Did you notice that the guy we got playing you is so much sexier than you are too?
I know, yeah. I mean, it's like
that's Shia LaBeouf's cousin.
Yeah,
I don't know for real.
He's probably got more. He's probably got more hair.
Oh, is that Horde LaBeouf?
I don't know.
He's trying to share the beef, and his cousin's hoards the beef. So
that's Hiram LaBeouf.
All right, so Mikey Spock is the chosen one. That's the name of this episode, right? Or you are our only hope.
Help us, Mikey Spock. You're our only hope.
It copies a couple of plot elements from Star Trek 09.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's begin with that. For those that have not yet seen the episode, let's give a brief summary of what happens in the episode, and then we can give the review.
We get reminded for an entire hour that Mikey Spock is the bestest ever.
Yes,
that's the summary. Basically, what happens is that Mikey Spock, she comes out of a 2D black hole wormhole in space, which of course is 2D. You could get away with that in the 90s, but that is really annoying me right now. And then she arrives by an M-class planet and like a debris field, and she crashes into a spaceship, and she takes that down with her. And then she falls down, and she's able to reboot her suit. I have to say that was really, really nice and peaceful, atmospheric re-entry.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then she's able to like send a beacon going back into the collapsing wormhole, saying that everything is fine or something like that. I guess who the hell can say? And then the budget Idris Elba, who she crashed in with, they meet, and she decides that I need someone to talk to right now, and it's going to be you, whether you like it or not. And then he's like a smuggler. She learns that she's 1,000 years into the future. God only knows how the hell her computer or onboard computer figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow it did.
GPS.
Couldn't figure out anything else. But yeah. And she learns that the Federation has fallen because all of the lithium spontaneously exploded or something else stupid.
Yeah,
in an event that's called the Burn, and everyone hates the Federation right now because of it. And then they need more lithium, or was it something else?
No, it's dilithium.
Dilithium, yeah. So then they go to like the Smuggler Fest, where they meet a bunch of Orions. Orions, and what's the other one? Andorians that teamed up to organize Smuggler Fest 3000. And they sneak into that, and some stupid bullcrap happens. And then they escape, and the Andorians and Orions are eaten by a giant freaking slug. I kid you not. And budget Idris Elba turns out to have like these magic close to the nature powers, which I was like thinking this has to be racist one way or the other, of having like this black African or black African British being like close to nature or something. There's like some kind of stereotype or something with
he's
that?
The beast master. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the beast and the plant master. Yeah, he's Mossman.
Yeah, at that one part when he summons the plant and then squeezes the goo out of it, to heal Michael, I was laughing. That had me rolling.
Yeah. But
A very
almost-
weird
almost
digital
done with,
display on his forehead too for
yeah.
something that's supposed to be natural, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But we're not getting to it yet. And
Oh,
then
sorry.
I'm almost done with the retelling of the episode, and then they go into space looking for the Discovery, I guess, which could show up tomorrow or it could show up in 1,000 years. They don't know. But to help them look, they go to this old
$5 says it's the next
Starfleet
episode.
station. Yeah, obviously. and there they find a guy that's been spending his entire life just sitting at the desk at an abandoned Starfleet station.
Well, not
Or
just that, he's like the third
station.
generation, isn't he?
Yeah.
For 3 generations, you're like sitting there waiting, and I was like thinking, Jesus Christ, how the hell do you write this bullshit? Basically, he's been there waiting for nothing for 3 fucking generations, waiting for someone from Starfleet to show up.
Yep.
And then she does, and that's when he says the title of the episode, that you're the last hope or something stupid like that. The end.
You are our hope or whatever. Fucking, I don't know. It's on the thumbnail.
That hope is you.
Yeah,
I wish it was Bob Hope.
exactly.
Well, I
Anyway,
gotta-
that's
he could
the
save the
summary
Federation.
of the episode. And if it sounded rambly, it's because it was. But then again, so was the episode. So, guys, what did you like?
There was lots of
about
pew
it
pews.
with that.
I don't know if I like that, but there was lots of pew pews.
One of the things that I really and I tried in my video, I tried not to be a hater. I tried to find things that I did like. One of them is I've always had a problem with the technology in Discovery. It's like it was set in the 22nd century, and it was like post Voyager type technology in there. So that I can give a pass. When we first meet that character that's on the outpost, he's like for the first minute of the episode, I thought that that was kind of cool. That technology that they were displaying, the graphics were okay. I didn't really have a problem with any of the settings, with any of the CGI. I thought that was pretty decent.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty for a TV show. I thought it was decent. I thought it was
For how much this show cost? Okay.
well. Like I said, man, I'm trying. This is me trying to find something.
I know you're
like.
trying to be nice, and I should shut
Yeah.
up.
And actually, the the book, what's his name? Cleveland Booker. He was like
Hey.
a bull. Yeah, I know.
y'all!
I know.
It's the Cleveland Show.
That's the first thing I thought. That's the first thing I thought was the guy that left Cleveland because he was a white guy playing a black fictional character, and he had to leave the show. And I was like, it's a shame that that name got tied into that because of all the rhetoric that Kurtzman espouses. But yeah, so those were all right. The Andorians looked more like looked more either like vampires or more like Klingons. But I was okay with them. The Orions definitely look 25% different, although that's a minor gripe in my opinion. And the gravity bomb type thing that was used, which looked like the Transformers Matrix of Leadership for some reason. That was a kind of a cool weapon. A lot of the elements in this episode I would have liked if it wasn't Star Trek, if it was just science fiction. But yes, that's about all the things I liked.
I got to bring this up though. I know I'm jumping ahead in super chats, but I would imagine, don't they still have replicators in 1,000 years in the future?
Yeah, they should.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dilithium wasn't something you could replicate, as far as I know, but you could kind of like grow and repair it, so to speak.
Well, yeah.
With like Spock and Scotty's recrystallization method.
Wait a minute. Wait, whoa.
Maybe they forgot the replicating technology.
What
I mean,
about-
like, they forgot the android stuff, didn't they, in Picard?
What about the tattoo chick there who
Yum
was
Yum.
friends with Yum Yum, who was friends with Tilly, who could reconstitute dilithium? I mean, she was supposed to be the genius. That they forgot. It just conveniently forgot about their own.
She did it before Scotty and Spock figured out how to do it in Star Trek 4, right?
Well, and then she'll come in handy when she comes into the future because they forgot how to do it.
But the whole thing is they just conveniently forgot about their whole universe breaking Deus Ex Machina.
Right. Well, and also Booker mentions that he had a crystalline regeneration chamber that was broken or damaged.
Michael somehow damaged when she
Yeah.
struck this massive ship and knocked it off course, because that's how physics works.
Convenient for story.
Well, a lot of the things.
We
in this
see that
episode-
opening where those ships are like having a skirmish and they're showing pretty impressive evasive maneuvers. And you'd think a small, low mass object that hits a ship shouldn't actually really have much bearing on it with all the other thrusters it could do to compensate. But no, it's completely knocked out of power and goes tumbling towards the planet's surface as if it was struck by, another ship of equal or greater size.
Right.
Yeah.
So Michael Burnham's got a big density issue.
You're putting too much thought into this script. You're not supposed to think when you're not.
I had to pay too much attention.
I wasn't even thought done. It's like that's how it works. That's a reflex. That's instinct.
And did anybody notice that Booker's ship, with the exception of the back section, kind of looked like it was like a Millennium Falcon design?
Everything looked like Star Wars in this.
Yeah, very Star Wars. It was basically a dagger-shaped Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Down to the planet when then she lands on all that shit. Everything looked like fucking Star Wars.
Except for the Mass Effect.
They didn't do a very good
Citadel.
job cutting between Pinewood Studios and Iceland.
And how did she?
That shore is definitely on Pinewood that they're on, and then the tumbling mountains and stuff is Iceland.
Yeah.
Well, the scenery was nice too. Yeah, I did forget to mention that. The locations were good. But how does she? This got me when she crashes onto this planet and she gets out. Right, no damage, no broken bones. She did. Her back was aching though. They did give a nod to that. But she gets up and throws up water.
Yeah,
obviously water.
That's clear bile, which is appropriate for Star Trek Discovery. It is bile.
Absolutely, that's very appropriate.
And we also learned the type of STD that this is. It's the burn. It's gonorrhea.
The burn.
It's the burn.
So they're telling me
Kramer doing the gonorrhea thing in Seinfeld.
Well, did you notice how they basically flat out admitting that, well, the galaxy took a hard left turn and it destroyed the universe? Gee, thanks for admitting it.
Word. Yeah,
burn. I mean, they're just setting me up with these things just to knock them down. I think. Like, you're telling me that this is why would they choose these words? I wonder.
There was a couple things later in the episode when we get to it. When Burnham gets drugged, there's a point that I'd like to make.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was the stupidest. Well, we forgot about going to the Citadel too. I don't think we got to the Citadel in the recap. I think I'm the only Mass Effect person here, right?
I knew the reference you were talking about. I think
I don't know. I'm affected massively too.
I played it, but you know what? I got tired of it. The whole wheel of choices where you pretty much end up in the same place as you start. You know, and during when you're having a conversation with someone, you know, and for all. It could have said your mother's a whore, Trebek, you know, and you would end up in the same place, but at least it would be funnier.
It's been a long road.
Getting from
there to
here. It's so cringe. This whole episode was so cringe.
Long time.
I'd rather watch Enterprise. Like I'm getting just my brain.
I'd actually watched a couple episodes of Enterprise during the in between times. I'm like, yeah, this is a lot better than Lower Decks. And
I'm actually getting a migraine thinking about this shit.
I mean, Enterprise gets a bum rap. That was actually really good.
Yeah, brother.
I mean, it stumbles a lot, but by comparison, it's at least got heart and effort in it.
Yes,
I mean,
and right.
I actually think what hurts Enterprise the most is that they called it Enterprise. I think the first Starfleet ship should have been called Star Trek Discovery, oddly enough. And if it was as well written as Enterprise or better, I mean, you definitely have more puns with regards to marketing it. You call it infectious, call it like fans itching to get the next episode because it would be good and it makes sense. But they collapsed under their own brand name by placating it, by anchoring it onto the name of Enterprise as opposed to something that seemed more appropriate or logical for a new Starfleet.
That and the showrunner having to constantly defend the show and keep boy bands out of the freaking mess hall. And also I think if that show had another 2 seasons, it would have been more well received. I think
it would have a better back end as opposed to other Star Trek shows.
The irony here is that the person responsible, the 2 people that are largely responsible for Discovery, Les Moonves and Alex Kurtzman. One of them, Les Moonves, is the guy who canceled Enterprise as his first order of business.
And before that, he was also the one that dictated that stupid temporal Cold War that was also really detrimental to Enterprise. The thing that they just had to get rid of at the end of season 2, when Captain Arch basically said, "No more. Like, don't come and bother us again, and we shall never speak of this storyline ever again.
But
that was a hard left off of the track of what they were trying to do.
Well,
the
temper tantrum, wasn't it?
It's quite good.
Speaking of a hard left, we were supposed to be talking about what we liked about the show, but that just shows you how much contempt this show has for
I
its
was
fans.
laughing my ass off at the cringe drug moments because she is just the worst piece of crap actress I've ever seen, and I forgot how bad she was.
Do you think that was born out of Alex Kurtzman saying, people like legalized marijuana? Let's put something having to do with drugs and we get Michael Burnham high.
Of all of us at Midnight's Edge, and I can't speak for Steven on this because I don't know how deep he goes with Trek, but I know you like Trek quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the least tech Trekkie guy on the group. Okay. I don't get the ins and outs of all the, fancy talk shit. I know when on the old shows they're talking science babble, it's like that sounds like it's important babble, like science babble shit. Nowadays, it's just like that is some of the stupidest shit I ever fucking heard in my life.
Oh, it's dumb down.
I agree completely.
Yeah. Well,
ridiculous.
Red Letter Media actually did that whole thing where they were making fun of all the techno babble and Discovery. And was the little guy with the beard? What's his name? Rich? Was not Rich? Is it? I don't know.
Rich is the chubbier guy,
and there's Mike. There's Rich.
Yeah,
Jay is probably who you're thinking of.
Rich was saying. Rich and Mike were talking, and they were saying about how, when you would have technobabble on the old show, but now you have people writing all the technobabble, and they're just throwing out all this nonsense, and then they're looking at you like, and patting themselves on the back like it's the smartest thing anyone's ever written, and it is the dumbest shit you've ever heard.
And they also do one more thing too. Instead of like talking it and having conversations about teching the tech, which also got ridiculous in Voyager, here you just have Mikey Spock shouting out orders either to the white guy next to her or to the computer, like adding drama by shouting and being stressed. And that only makes it more ridiculous.
Now that's the power of math,
Oh my god. Yeah,
math's racist.
They dumb down everything. It's like they think that their audience is as unfamiliar with Trek as they are, so they dumb it all down for you. And thank you to whoever in the chat just purchased a copy of my book. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
But there's and Script, you've seen Rick, you've seen Rick and Morty, right? I mean, you know this more than you know this thing. There was that one episode of Rick and Morty where the battery died in the car, and the
universe within the universe.
Yeah, universe within the universe. And Morty says, oh, it's it must be the quantum carburetor or something. And he says, Morty, you can't just put quantum in front of a word and make it sound scientific,
Yeah,
and that's
quantum means the smallest of everything. It's like the most minute thing in the universe. That's what quantum means, and yet that's always used in the most weird, arbitrary ways since Voyager.
Yeah, but that's what they're doing though in Discovery. They're putting all these like highfalutin words like quantum and micro and macro and they're putting all these like
phasic.
Phasic, multiphasic, and they're putting these words in front of other words. They're like, yeah, I got your science here, baby. I'm like, no,
multiphasic distributor of protons. Yeah, exactly.
And like Larry points out here,
sense,
the original Trek shows actually had real scientific advisors.
Right.
And they work on the Orville right now.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think Futurama had real scientific advisors.
Script, I need you to adjust the quantic phase filament in the hypo mega thruster chamber.
Okay, we're first going to have to shut down power to the quantum flux capacitor there.
That's what they're doing. Dear God.
1.21 gigawatts? What the hell is a gigawatt?
Compressor.
All right. Let's get a couple super chats. What do you say, Andre? And then we'll get back into the slaying of Discovery here at this point. Because I mean, I just don't know if there's any positives in this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the episode has a goal: find the Discovery. That's a goal.
You must have at least one or two, or you wouldn't have asked.
The cat is moving cute.
Okay, then I have three, but
that's
we'll
a main.
To that.
It had a
That's a main
thyroid
coon, yeah.
condition.
Andre does have a soft spot for kitties, so
I love kitties.
That's-
That's not even a cute cat. He looks like
that-
he's mangy and he's diseased and
That's
stuff.
a Maine Coon, and Maine Coons are larger and they have that big ratty like layers
Yeah, I
of
had
fur.
one. He was pretty. He was black and
Yeah.
sleek and pretty. This one looks like he's a common alley cat that they pulled out of a dumpster.
Yeah, probably. Well, they probably dirtied him up. It's like, oh yeah, he would have a dirty cat. You know?
That's stupid.
Well, let's get caught up on these super chats, Andre, and then we'll get into what you enjoyed with this episode.
The script. Did we read Lee Jordan's super chat to you?
Yes, with regards to the Padlex, yes.
I think that's where we left off then, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
To the script doctor, saw your review on Lower Decks and how you compared Kurtzman and Secret Hideout to the Parklets. You nailed it. Yes, we got that one. And then Loki's Mornings of Mischief says, we did our review this morning. I may start drinking on Thursdays. Why did Mikey sound like a damn turkey gobbling for half the show? Gobble, gobble. I agree, but I actually have a thought on that. I think that Michelle Paradise maybe decided, people talk about how perfect she is and like she's too Vulcan and too robotic. So let's go completely the other direction by getting her high.
That's what I was thinking too.
That's as far as I'm concerned, not better. That's just me.
It was bad.
Can someone go to Best Buy or even just go to Goodwill and spend $50 on a freaking tripod? I am so tired of this shaky cam all the time.
Yeah. It was in focus, but I just didn't care because it was so disjointed and all over the place. And it's definitely designed to hide the fact that there's no time for choreography on this show. Like that's primarily what it's for.
Yeah, and moving on to the next super chat, Captain Hare sent us another $5 saying, "Budget Idris Elba should have been Trevor Noah. Why not swing for the fences when aiming for awfulness?"
Right.
Yeah, he is awful, isn't he? And Blue Satoshi sent us $5 saying, "Don't the feds have the means to regrow dilithium crystals since at least the 24th century? Does Kurtzman have to pay a license for that?"
They're 25%
if he was even aware of the possibility, which he probably isn't, because like these people, they don't watch Star Trek. They have an intern read the Google summary or like the Wikipedia summaries or something for them.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, because dilithium is still valuable. It's just they don't need. It's not as scarce as it used to be in the galaxy.
And you're going to tell me that there wasn't any innovation in what 800 years or so forth that they moved to a propulsion system that didn't need dilithium? Eventually, I would think eventually they would move past that into something else.
Well, dilithium just controls the matter-antimatter reaction, so that's where they get their power from. So that might just be your peak, but it's all like, okay, so we can have different propulsion systems, absolutely. So we have the slipstream drive, which I think was referenced in there, which still needs an antimatter reaction to power it.
But Romulans didn't use dilithium. They used the Romulans. They used a
quantum singularity. Yeah. So there's also that option as well to explore.
I like science.
I have a question on this episode. Like, why did she destroy the suit?
Right.
I don't understand that either.
Because
that's her means of transportation.
Yeah.
Right. This thing could scan the planet, say that there was life forms anywhere on it, saved her from falling through space onto a planet. You don't know what kind of environment you're in. You don't know what you're about to encounter. Why would you get rid of one of the only pieces?
Because she said it was going to be a one-way trip at the end of the last season. That's why.
Yeah, it doesn't mean she still can't fly around.
Okay, but even though she doesn't even know if the atmosphere is breathable.
Right.
She doesn't know if the life signs are hostile. She doesn't know.
Well, it did say that the life support was 0 in the
failing.
But okay, so she can just use it as a goddamn computer then, just scan.
True, but I'm sure
so
because
she could use
fucking
it to travel.
reasons. It's an expensive suit, guys.
We can't. Yeah, we can't. We don't have the budget to render the suit in every episode, so we have to get rid of it.
One instead of made it all CGI. Just
Oh.
build
But
it.
why would she even need
at
to
the
be in
same
the suit?
time-
She could give it orders and it could fly on its own, right? Like she didn't even
But
need to be inside that. Just say,
Right.
"Hey, suit, go take us to the future. I'm
At
going
the
to go
same-
back on Discovery."
At the same time, she could cannibalize it for parts, though. I mean, that's what you'd
Right.
do.
Instead of
Get under-
self-destructing the thing, she sent it up into the wormhole to self-destruct, to send a signal into the atmosphere to signal Discovery. I'm sorry, Discovery's so advanced they can detect close Klingon ships before they even go in to detect them
Inside a
Remember
planet?
Season 1 in episode 9. I mean, that's the whole reason. Oh, we need to go and fly in here and do all these little maneuvers to go 50,000 points of light around the Klingon ship to detect it, even though we can see it out the freaking window and we can already detect the thing.
Now
Not
this
only
is
that,
the
Discovery
power of
hasn't showed
math.
up yet, so why get rid of the one thing that would allow it to show
Right.
up, which is controlling the wormhole?
Every time you ask a question, just answer it with "I like science." that's because that's what it comes down to. Well, why did she destroy the suit? I like science.
Isn't there a clip of Homer Simpson saying that in one of the many Simpsons episodes?
No, I think he says
Probably.
I like stories. I don't know about
I like stories.
science.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well,
Yeah,
she wasn't-
I like stories.
She wasn't thinking right at the time because after she sent the suit off, her only piece of technology away, she opened She opened up her little box with her communicator in it and had to repeat who she was about 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
No, she wasn't in
Yeah,
her
that
right.
was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then she had to tell herself to stand up and walk. It's like, what were you doing for the last 3 minutes? Even if that
those
was
are the stage
adrenaline. Just,
directions, Michael. Those are Sonequa, those are the stage directions. You don't read that part out loud. You
But
do
that's
it.
the-
You don't read it.
But that's the power of math, people. See,
Is there any-
it works. It works for everything.
I understand how Vincent feels right now. My brain hurts.
Yeah.
Um,
If Vincent, if your brain hurts now, then please explain to me if you've seen this. How she walks up to this other guy, Cleveland. She walks up to Cleveland, and he's obviously a better fighter. He's about what 50, 60 more pounds than she is. He's got a sword, knocks the phaser out of her hand, but as soon as she needs to, she whips his ass.
Hi, y'all.
As soon as she needed to, like it was just like okay, what's your name? She's trying to force herself into
you know
his
the
life.
point where I really didn't get is like she's on this drug, right? That's supposed to make her like uber.
Gonna make her likable.
Can I have someone to make watching this
Do
even
I-
better?
Do I need to pull out the Cheech avatar here for this?
Well, no, my point was this: like, because they're in that scene where they're surrounded, right? And they give each other the wink. Like, how is she even cognitive enough to know like they're gonna do that without
they haven't
screaming?
even
it
known
out
each other long enough to
loud
communicate that
or,
thing, that they're on the same page.
Like she just.
It's so she can flip out in the most ridiculous way possible, start giggling uncontrollably, start talking a million miles a minute like Tilly, be a complete and absolute utter train wreck. It's because Michelle Paradise has a background in the Groundlings as improv.
Yeah.
And she knows her yes ands. You know
Yeah,
you know
but
how
yes
much you
ands
love
don't
your
make
yes
a
and,
story.
Rob.
They make a
Yes,
sketch.
and did we finish the super chats,
We
Andre?
did not finish the super
Oh,
chat.
sorry.
Let's see. Just give me 1 second to refresh because I believe
They even-
a couple of others came in there. So just carry on for 1 more second, and I'll get.
Don't.
To it. But in the meantime, I can say what I actually liked about
Yeah.
it. I liked the Orion guy and the blue guy. What's his full name
The
again?
Andorian, yeah.
Thank you, Andorian. I like the two of them and their chemistry. I was like thinking, oh, these guys are pretty funny to look at. Like they're the most interesting characters we've seen in 3 seasons of Discovery so far. I wonder how we're going to develop them. And yeah, they'll be eaten by an insect. And that was the end of that.
Yeah.
which they ripped off from Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah.
Would not surprise me in the slightest. I've never seen Rick and Morty, but they rip off everything. So why would they not rip off that? That, of course, is the question. Of course, yeah, I like the kitty a little bit, which, as Rob points out, is a Maine Coon, although it's also very similar to a Norwegian forest cat and a Russian forest cat. Those 3 are practically identical, and you really need a
And apparently
trained
there's
eye.
no vets in the future, so that has a thyroid problem.
Yeah, that's.
I think Maine
that's an
Coon,
excuse. Those cats actually do get that big.
I think Maine Coons were actually originally brought over from Norway.
Yeah, they are. That's the further evolution of the Norwegian forest cat. Like take the Norwegian forest cat to America, give it 100 years or so to go in a slightly different direction, and you have the Maine Coon. And the same thing with like with the Russian forest cat is basically also the Norwegian forest cat, but it lacks the enzyme that makes people allergic. So if you have a cat allergy and you want a cat anyway, go with the Russian forest cat. It looks like the Maine Coon, but it won't trigger allergy.
Wow.
That's like the difference between the three of them.
Wow.
Yes, I like my kitties. So.
I like science.
All I know at this point is I'm pitying Star Trek. I feel like Tommy Lee Jones and Captain America. It's like he's making me cry.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. Yeah.
Let's wipe away the tears with some super chats.
Thank you.
Shall we?
Yes, thank you.
Fat the Mercenary sent us $2 saying Enterprise and Voyager are so much better than New Trek. Yeah, and again, I have very little good to say about Voyager, but Enterprise gets a bum rap. And Lost Jedi 22 sent us $10 saying hated the tech. Holograms are made of magic moon sand now. Also hate the hollow displays. Hold your hand straight out in front of you for 10 minutes and tell me that's a practical way to use a computer. That's a very good point. An extremely good point. Yeah, like do that isometric exercise. Try that. Hold your hands out for 10 minutes and see what happens. Like you're going to need some hot stone treatment after that. And Stephen Otten sent us $5 saying, I'd rather watch Andromeda, Battlestar Galactica, Night Flyers, Firefly. And if I may add to that, Paint Dry, Pizza cheese melt in the oven, Grass Grow. But yeah. And finally, David Lutz sent us $5 saying, it makes you wonder if one of us secretly works on Discovery and is sabotaging the whole thing. It's just that dumb. Love your show, though. You all keep me sane. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. We do our best to let our suffering maybe help all of you with yours, because I'm sure none of here likes to see what's happened to Star Trek. So we just got to support each other and look for other properties and enjoy while we mourn the passing of Star Trek, is how I see it. What do you guys think?
I think that there's
making me cry.
Yeah.
This is going to be a either very forgettable season or most memorable for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, it's going to be cringe-alicious. It's already hilarious. I've already got 5 new clips just from my Stream Deck alone.
I went to the dollar store and I bought the thing that when the popcorn containers, like the movie thing, the plastic, like you get fairs. I'm like, I'm just gonna load up with popcorn and just like enjoy. I might put on like another 10 pounds though. That's a problem. But it is going.
Basmati Blues. Just pretend Brie Larson is dancing in the corner.
People. That's too, just to get caught up. Moonfail. Tom, tell me if this is Stig in disguise or Stig under another name. He sent us $5 saying, just remembered it could always be worse. You could all be Swedish.
It sounds like him, but no. He doesn't know how to super chat, and he's made that very clear. He's like, even if I would, I never would.
That sounds very Norwegian.
Andre, just let me ask you a question. I mean,
yeah, sure.
The Norwegians, I was in Sweden, I was in Norway, 8 months apart. The Norwegians, they share just as big a love of coffee as the Swedes, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So
not me, but my Norwegian brethren do.
Okay, so all right. So advantage push. There are no winners on that one. So
yeah.
But since you're Norwegian, I think we have to go Norway.
yeah, I should say so. But again, I do not mind Sweden in the slightest, unlike Stig. So yeah, there you have that. And then Blue Satoshi sent us $10. One of two, so maybe another one will be forthcoming. The slipstream drive doesn't use antimatter. In Star Trek Online's lore, it becomes standard see the early 2400s, albeit at only a fraction of the speed of Voyager's had, and only in short bursts. I want to refresh and see if there is
he did send in the rest of it.
Yeah. Just give me 1 second.
Says in game they default to warp 20. That was the rest of it.
Well, Star Trek Online's wrong.
I don't think you could go faster than warp 10. Isn't that like being in the whole universe at once or something?
In Voyager lore, yeah, but the antimatter is just a fuel source to power the warp engines. The first warp engine was a chemical reaction. It's just an efficient means of using it. It's fuel. It powers the entire ship. You can find alternative powers to power warp drive, just as you can for slipstream or any other propulsion. That's the brilliance of it. That's why it's so important and valuable within Star Trek. It's not dependent on antimatter. The entire ship is dependent on a matter-antimatter reaction. But if they wanted to use like a fusion engine, they could do that. They just have to generate a massive amount of power to power a warp field.
They could probably use chemical fuels as well, but like our rockets do. They just have to use one hell of a big tank.
And Captain...
Exactly, like the Zephram Cochrane thing is like a small ship. It achieved a very short warp drive, so it was a chemical engine. So clearly, if you can find the right reactive chemicals, you can create a burst that will get you to break the light speed barrier for a very short time.
And I believe Captain Crusher's medical frigate and All Good Things could go to warp factor 13.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they've been retconning that with Voyager. Voyager did a lot of retconning. They retconned the Borg. They retconned warp speed barrier. They retconned warp speed maneuverability. You used to be able to travel in any direction and make maneuvers at warp speed, but now you can't.
That's probably for the better that you can't. And one more super chat, and we're all caught up. Stephen Otten sent us $5 saying, "The groundlings are writing for Star Trek. What the actual F?"
I don't know, Stephen.
And with that, I believe we're all caught up. And so, yeah, I just shared what I liked about this episode, which was I liked the villains, basically, the Andorian and the Orion. I thought that those two guys had a good chemistry. Too bad that they were eaten by that plant slug thing. What is it with Discovery and like these, or this iteration of Star Trek and these hippie plant animals or what have you?
Well, it's murder, anyway, you know.
So like for a moment there in the middle, I was like thinking this doesn't have to be so bad. Maybe now when they've rebooted the entire concept and changed showrunner, maybe things won't be so bad. And then we got to the guy who had spent his entire life in a defunct Federation station waiting for someone to show up, like his father and grandfather wasted their life before. That's the moment I was completely out, guys.
Well, his father and grandfather at least had a spouse to have a child. This guy has nobody.
Yeah,
more pathetic.
He had a parrot time clock.
Artificial thing. Like that's the other part too. Like, is everything a hologram in this station? Is there no real matter?
Probably. I don't know. Fuck this show.
That's the best assessment I've heard so far, Tom.
Yeah,
I like science.
As good as like the guys were with their little back and forth, once you got to that final fight where they're all giving their little quips and their dialogue, it felt so modern though. It was like, oh yeah, says who? Says you, nuh-uh, neener, and all of this modern day language. And that is one thing that bothers the crap out of me with this modern day Star Trek is that nobody talks like it is Star Trek anymore.
Well, it's all about
it's contemporary as opposed to universal.
It's so dumb though.
So you're saying it's essentially just the flagpole licking scene out of A Christmas Story. I triple dog dare you.
It was I can't remember the exact dialogue. I just remember it's like this is exactly what we hated about The Last Jedi and the Yo Mama jokes.
It's like it's like little kids wrote it. Yeah,
it's dated. It takes you out of this futuristic setting. And why would they resort to modern day 20th century dialogue and line delivery in the future. It's so far away. And that's one thing that like Stargate does really, really well. Whenever you see aliens, they all have this alien presence about them. Or, you know, because like leave the over crying out loud jokes to the humans and stuff that are supposed to be modern day present humans. That's what Star Trek doesn't get, like this modern day stuff. It's like, no, you're a different franchise. You guys are supposed to be so far removed. You are Star Trek, where you listen to the stuffy classical music and you all speak with eloquence like it's Shakespeare, and you all have this presence and professionalism.
Right.
And nobody has that anymore.
Absolutely. You're right. Well, it's because the projection of the people that are writing it, they're not worried about honoring the legacy of it. They're worried about 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 politics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's written the way that it is. It's meant to connect to a certain segment of the audience, and that segment is not your traditional Star Trek.
The message comes first, Steve.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's why I call out
message is that Star Trek sucks now.
Well, yeah,
and that there's a Universal Endangered Species Protection Act or something of that nature.
And only the Federation can uphold it, and no one else.
Don't you guys realize what they've done here? I was waiting for somebody else to make this point, but because I didn't want to be the one to make it. They have literally made Starfleet a fucking minority in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the episode, they're like, we don't have many numbers, but we're strong, and we will. Don't you see what they're setting themselves up for here?
Turning the tables on oppression. That's basically what they're doing.
Bingo!
They treated the Federation as an enemy and the real problem the whole time. And here you have like the whole goal, the same thing that they want for society. They do not want any kind of peace. They do not want any equality. They just want to turn the tables on perceived oppression. Make the one that they saw as the oppressor become the oppressed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Good point. That's why it's the writing is the dialogue. It's bad. There was a few shining. The one thing that I did. One more thing that I did like, I'll probably be on the minority here, was the drug scene with Burnham, because they've tried so much. I like Sinequa Green, and they try so much to make her as unlikable as possible in this character, and then you finally let her smile, let some kind of a bubbly attitude, that she has when she's usually doing interviews and things like that. They let that shine just for a second, and then it's like they half-assed it in making mention that she was a Mary Sue, because she mentioned, she was like, I saved everybody, and I just died.
I know! Thank you for saying that. I was going to bring that up, too. That was one of my notes, too. I'm like, Mikey Spock literally says she saved everybody and everything.
I think Georgiou stopped the AI in season 2. And
you know why?
Saving everybody.
Yeah, you know why she said that? Because in all the other episodes, there's someone there that can tell her how amazing she is, or ask her to come and save them and to take over and to go and take over that panel, because the white guy that's supposed to operate it is a useless white guy. So we need her to come and take it over. You always have someone else to communicate to the viewer how amazing and the bestest ever she is.
Yes.
Now suddenly everyone that knows her is away, so no one knows how amazing she is. So then the audience has to be reminded that she saved everyone, even though he's high as a kite right there, so that we will like her. We still have to be reminded how amazing she is.
For a second, I thought it was maybe a flash of humility, but thank you, Andre. Now I understand.
No, she does say she's overcompensating, though. What was her exact line? She says something like,
she says it like 3 times.
She's overcompensating for something, and that she's so supportive. She's so
I'm
supportive.
so supportive.
I'm so supportive.
I'm reflexively supportive.
This fucking episode was some of the most cringe I've ever seen in my life. And I seen a post from Robert Meyer Burnett saying like he actually liked the last 5 minutes, and I'm thinking, why? I don't understand.
First of all, the ridiculous nature of I can't hang this flag because I'm not a commissioned officer. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Yes. You can do whatever you want. You're fine. You're all alone here. Right. Second of all, it's going to be years based on the clips we've seen of Michael Burnham. We know that she's probably been searching for Discovery for 3 or 4 years based on her hair length growth. So for 3 or 4 years, has she been rebuilding the Federation or just looking for Discovery? I'm going to bet she's just been looking for Discovery and kicking back and not doing anything.
Or just hanging out with the dude and the cat.
And he's on this space station that doesn't have long range sensors, but he can still scan for 600 light years in 30 different sectors. But he can detect 2 different Federation ships within that frame. You're telling me that in 40 years he didn't reach out, communicate, and said, "Hey, could someone throw me a condition so I can hang up this flag?"
Or someone come by and repair my sensors
for her. You guys don't get it. They were waiting for her.
You're right.
Waiting for her.
In the future, everyone is so useless that nothing can get done unless Michael Burnham is there to initiate
That's
it.
right.
We literally had a guy, 3 generations of men were sitting there just waiting for her to show up to tell them.
Pretty pathetic.
Yeah, they were literally Richard Marx right here waiting for her.
God, the show sucks. Oh my God.
It's
I'm rooting for the space worm because at least he's more likable and shows more compassion and sense.
He has taste. It's bad at Burnham.
Well, the worm was a she and went to the worm reserve so that she could have babies.
Can we follow her ship and her crew? She's way more interesting and has way more of a personality and a character.
And I called this thing a soap opera for a reason. They are so setting up these two to get together.
Oh, yeah.
The dialogue between them for the first half of the show was completely cringe fucking soap opera bullshit. And that's where I questioned Steven in the beginning about how do you think this looks good? Like the compositing in this episode looks like shit worse than I've seen in the 70s.
Damn.
I mean, you can tell it was all shot on green screen.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they had those giant J.J. Abrams green screen balloons that
you can tell that fucking wormhole in the sky was simply just like a picture that they superimposed, and you could see when it closed up because you could see the pixels from the other pic on top of it moving along with it. Was so bad. Like I've done better like shit in 5 minutes for our Midnight's Edge videos on the fly.
Well, I mean, what I liked was the interior of Book's ship. I liked that. I liked the wide scene of the city.
You're being nice.
I am being nice. I also like the actual trade hub itself. I thought that was okay. It was for television. I don't hold movie standards to television, and there were definitely mistakes. I didn't like everything about the CGI, but I thought it was probably one of the better aspects of the show.
It reminded me a lot of like your normal sci-fi TV quality.
Yeah, and I was fine with that. I accept that level from a television show, and I'm not really asking too much from Kurtzman Trek because I'm not expecting too much.
The tyranny of low expectations, isn't that what it's called?
Yeah,
and nothing is wrong with green screen as long as you do it well. And this was not.
And you're
well
doing
done.
it properly. That's I mean, that's like do it when you need it. Don't green screen a desert when you're filming in a desert.
And I mean, I can even say there's been movies that I've enjoyed that have real shitty green screen. Don't get me wrong.
It really comes down to the story quality. You can forgive a lot of things if you have great characters and a great story. Like Babylon 5, one of my favorite shows. Not the best quality in special effects. Great story, great characters. For seasons 1 through 3, 1 through 4. But it's I don't know. I guess I'm grasping at straws maybe, but I thought it was acceptable.
Well, not just that. It's just the incessantness or whatever the word I'm looking for to just have it be like so much like.
On it?
No, to have it seem like Star Wars. Everything felt like Star Wars.
Right.
Insistence.
Insistence, that's the word. Thank you, Rob.
And also like the borrowing
upon itself.
The borrowing of themes from other creators. I mean, as far back as the tardigrade. It's like you can cut. If you really want to nitpick it, you can watch these shows and you can see where they've taken ideas from other franchises or other people and they've applied it. And it was the same thing in this episode.
Do I need to get the ding counter out for this now too?
Well, I just gotten to this point where I'm so sick and tired of this show. I mean, I was hoping that this episode would be like, okay, I was being as open-minded as I could for this because I was like, they're starting kind of fresh. Like Andre pointed out a few times, it is kind of like almost a reboot because they're sent 1,000 years into the future. Finally, they can't really mess with anything from the past, but yet they still found a way. And then, it's just, it's obnoxious. It's hard to watch. It made me fidgety. It just, didn't like it. It's not enjoyable to watch in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing about it that makes me feel like it's Star Trek. There's nothing about it that's enjoyable outside of Star Trek. And it just reminds me every time of how they put Mikey Spock out, even when she's sitting there patting herself on the fucking back through the whole episode. It just reminds me of how they shit on the legacy of people like Nichelle Nichols and Cisco and all that kind of shit. All the people that came before that actually did things that they just kind of sit there and take fucking all the credit for in the show.
Why would you expect it to change though?
I don't know.
It's the same. It's the same idiots you have running this as they did the last 2 seasons. I mean, again, we're coming to a sports ball metaphor or comparison. You know, the New York Knicks have been struggling for years. I mean, every time they have a new coach, it's going to be different this time, but you still have the same people pulling the strings. I mean, what makes you think it's going to be any different? You know, 3 coaches, 5 coaches in 4 years, all of them achieved the same results. It's not going to be different unless there's a wholesale regime change.
Exactly.
I mean, they're still following the same contrived method of storytelling that they've done for the previous 2 seasons.
This is a failure from the top down. You know, the old saying, the fish rots from the head. That's what this is.
Right. And it makes things like, there was a rumor that I heard just yesterday about Avery Brooks possibly coming back. And I would love to see Cisco again, but not under this control, not under this creative control. I wouldn't want that. And so it really puts a bad taste in your mouth because of the bad production, the bad quality of characters and storytelling, and just the blatant disrespect toward the franchise itself, or what, before Bad Robot. So, you're right. It's hard to appreciate something. I mentioned this in my video review earlier. It's hard to appreciate something, even try and look at it from an unbiased perspective, when you know that the creative powers behind it have no respect for the legacy of the material.
More than that, they actively dislike it and want to subvert it in the name of agenda.
Yes.
Yeah, and they write it backwards too. They figure out their set pieces first, and then by any means necessary try to wedge those characters to get in them. And it just doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel personal. It doesn't feel real. It's like there's no convincing aspect to it because it doesn't have cause and effect. It doesn't have proper setup or distractions and surprises. It's just paint by numbers in a very, very lazy way.
Well, that was obvious last season, where we always wonder, or the first season, I think, when they went into the mirror universe, like, okay, what powers this ship? Is that a black hole? Because it's black. Oh no, it's the spore. Well, it's not even the same color as the spore. It looks like
space
a black
mushrooms.
It's the giant star or something, and they only go to the mirror universe to get Giorgio so that she can help them save the end the Klingon War, because they can't do it themselves. So they're very lucky that they fell into that mirror universe,
right?
Yeah.
I will always be upset that this show, didn't have better people running it that love Star Trek, but didn't go into the whole Federation Klingon War. That's a whole area that would have been very great. The original fans would have been.
And it happened 10 years before it took place in Discovery too. That's the other part.
Yeah.
They're going full CW on this shit, guys. Have you I've heard, like, there's the rumor going around that the cast pushed for a musical episode even.
No way.
I fucking shit you not.
Oh God, I hope we get it.
I hope we get it.
Yeah, I kind of want to see them do that.
Please,
I dare them.
Please.
I dare them to.
Oh my God. That we're looking at 2 million views if they do that. Okay.
Hell yes. Oh, the clips will be classic.
There you go, everybody. Hashtag Alex Kurtzman Star Trek musical episode. You'll get it.
We need it. Well, we've already got Anthony Rapp. I mean, look at the thing that they did with.
Yeah, he's probably the one behind it.
Like,
the one where like singing that we're all nerds, right?
Yeah, I meme that all the time. The Nerds song where they're talking about 500,000 spin-offs, and Sonequa Martin Green can't sing at all. She's awful.
Musical theater is just one tier above mine.
Well, he brings in all the musical theater people. There were people lined up. Remember at Star Trek Las Vegas, Rob? Like, they were just lined up for Anthony Rapp, and they were all the Rent fans. They were all the musical theater geek sort of girls. That's
Sonequa had the biggest line, and I think that had more to do with Walking Dead than anything.
Yeah, she had a lot for The Walking Dead, but he had about just almost as many for Rent.
Nice. Yeah.
To be fair, Doug Jones had a lot of people too. The only person who didn't have anybody was Ash Tyler, I think.
I didn't even have guy. Like the one character that I like is Saru. And we didn't even get to see him in this episode.
Well, they had done fucked him up quite a bit too, a few episodes into the second season, and a few other, because they started giving him some interesting shit to do, and then they just screwed him up.
Grasping for straws, Tom. I'm just I like.
I know, dude. I'm sorry. I can't even.
Predator.
I don't even know if Wheelchair Guy made the leap. So I'm more concerned with him right now. I mean,
poor Wheelchair Man.
He's just gonna get a line this season.
No, he won't.
We know Lisa Left Eye gets one that might get her in trouble, she says.
I like her at least. I like that. I like the secondary. We never see them though. That's the biggest thing. It's like you're still focusing all of this on Mikey, Rey Skywalker, Sue, Spock. You know, this is the same thing that was wrong with Star Wars. You're focusing so much on this one god awful character.
Wait, there's other characters?
Apparently, I guess Tilly has.
I don't know,
but season 2.
All I know is non-binary Transly Crush or whatever the fuck her name is. Its name
Transly
is. Got like fucking 12 more goddamn lines than everybody else in that fucking preview.
Transly Crusher copyright. I'm on quarter every time someone says it.
Oh, God.
You're canceled, Tom. That's offensive. They're the non-binary binars.
But we have a new name for one of the characters. We had Lisa Left Eye. We have Lisa Left Eye, LeBron James, Nebula, Natsulu,
Mrs. T,
Transly Crusher, and
now we have
Bionic 6, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we got Janet Reno.
Dollar Store just.
Oh yeah, well that's what's her face is Janet Reno, the comedian chick who's still in there for some reason.
Janet Reno, yeah. Tignataro, yeah.
That or I was gonna call her. She looks like was it Katie Lang or whoever that one?
She does look like Katie Lang.
Katie Reno. Transly Crusher.
While you contemplate that, we have 2 more super chats to get through. First is from Adam Wofford, who sent us $5 saying, "I would rather watch fan-made Star Trek movies and Star Wars fan film. Warhammer 40K. Fans do it superior than studios."
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's actually
oddly enough with the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that. Yeah, you know what? In current environment, that's actually true.
It is really true, especially with the recent guidelines that CBS threw out for their fan films, constraining it to like 2 15-minute episodes. It's actually done a better service to the fan films because they're a lot tighter. They don't meander. They get to the story more like they would a traditional Trek, and they've actually. Like the production value has increased greatly. I've found numerous Star Trek fan films that are short that are just leaps and bounds better than the stuff that was prior to those guidelines. I mean, it's kind of working against the CBS mandate.
because when you have those tight constrictions, you have to focus on your story.
Exactly. Yeah. And you don't get time to sort of relish in the things that you wanted to relive that you saw on the screen, which is what a lot of fan films tend to do.
I have always maintained that outside of Star Trek, for Hollywood in general, having too much money on any given production is a curse and not a blessing. It's a problem. Because then you see like too much money being wasted on special effects and stuff like that. Some level of necessity is the mother of all invention. Because then you have to like compensate in storytelling. You have to find new ways of making things tighter. And that is something that the story will ultimately benefit from very, very often. And before I let go of the word, so to speak, Scott Purdy sent us £5 saying, "Best thing about Discovery is these reviews. Do you think this season will end with them stopping the burn and saving the Federation?"
The burn.
Yes.
The burn.
They'll find dilithium penicillin, and it'll be from Mikey Spock's blood. And from that, they'll be able to rebuild the Federation and bring order to the chaos that's in the galaxy, all because of Michael Byrne.
It seems like there should be like some kind of
to us all or something.
Yeah, it seems like there should be some kind of drug commercial. If you feel the burn for more than 5 days, consult your doctor. You know,
quarantine yourself. Just don't mostly peaceful protest.
They have to know that, you know, people who don't like the show call it STD. Why would you put the burn into the show?
They
Why
don't think this shit through. They never think this shit through. We have come to that conclusion.
I think someone in the writer's room that might hate their job may have wedged that in, and nobody else picked up on it.
had to?
Doesn't everyone remember when, like, for the first couple weeks? I mean, when everybody on the internet, it was Screen Rant, it was IGN, Polygon, whatever. It's not STD. It's disco.
Which he makes it equally. Because, by the way, we're working on it now. Where's my fucking design, Rob? I need a Disco Sucks shirt like 12 weeks ago.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
It's
but they changed the font. They changed.
Let them. I know. That's what I said. Get the new font.
The new font is. I think it's a copyrighted font.
Oh, who cares? Just get the old font. Then.
Well, they've also changed the Star Trek Delta Badge logo. Did you see in the opening credits that it's going to be this like vertical oval thing now in the future?
Oh, fuck this show. Anyway, like, Andre's got to get going here, and we will be suffering for how many more weeks of this crap? Like 20 weeks, I think.
There's 12 more weeks.
There's 12 more weeks, so by the end of the year, yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
This year can't end soon enough. And I mean,
this is just more punishment from 2020, folks.
2020, the year that wasn't.
Chick.
Oh man, but head on over to Midnight's Edge After Dark Live. We'll be doing that here in about a half hour or so. Rob Atlas sent in $5. Says, "Thank you guys. I want sci-fi in my Star Trek, but I get comedy gold instead." LMAO. Well, and too bad that their fucking comedy show ain't funny either. That's a problem in and of itself. I don't know what you guys want to say to that, but
well, that at least makes you chuckle. This thing just makes you groan. And on that note, Christian Sanders sent us €2 saying, "I would rather watch Rob's colonoscopy."
There's something that takes a hard left.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Ah, Lord. Like I said, I have scientific proof that I'm a perfect ass, so. All right.
Oh, balls. I'm working on getting that link for the Midnight's Edge After Dark Live show for everybody here in the chat. But in the meantime, is there any final thoughts on this week's episode?
Got a goal. I mean, that's more than the previous seasons had.
So does Rob's colonoscopy.
I can't wait to get together and discuss the next week's because I hope
the only colonoscopy that works, right? Say it with me.
What? Colon blow?
Walton's best.
Oh, Lord.
I had to get that in there.
Now this is the power of math.
That's a very not inside joke, but it is an inside joke.
Yeah, brother.
Tom, do you like science?
I like science and I like turtles.
I like turtles. Turtles are cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to another shirtless dude next week. Because we got our shirtless dude scene and talking to animals and plants and for that character development. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Hippie.
I don't know, man. I just I hope that God, it's not going to be better, but I'm just going to wait and see. If anything, we'll have something to talk about.
What there's that sign?
Can we do as an experiment, Andre? Can you guys all watch the show and I not watch the show, and then I try to pretend to guess what the show's about, and then you guys actually review it and see how close I am?
You're just trying to get away from watching it, aren't you?
Rob did that once. Rob did that once. I'm telling on him. He did that once.
I did?
Yeah, I can't remember what show you showed up for and you didn't see it.
That's usually most of them. That's usually most of them.
Discovery.
The difference between not seeing it and not remembering it, because this one here is, oh man. Jeez.
Oh, Lord. All right. I tried. I fucking tried.
Points for
for trying, but you don't get away that easy.
I thought it'd be fun. I'd do everything I could to avoid any synopsis, any reviews, any trailers, everything.
To paraphrase Patrick Stewart, we're here to work, not to have fun, and this is turning out to be especially true for Star Trek.
Tom, what does Patrick Stewart actually say?
This was something that he said on the set of the first season of Star Trek: The Next Generation, when he was there, like super serious, like Shakespearean, and everyone else was just goofing around, and he couldn't deal with it. So he told them, "We're not here to have fun. We're here to work." And he never heard the end of it, and that's kind of like what I'm feeling with this iteration of Star Trek and watching this, like. There's no fun in this. It's just like black comedy and tragedy, and you just got to laugh a little bit at it.
If you didn't laugh, you'd cry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's.
I could not, and then see how long it takes for you guys to figure out. Never mind.
That's evil.
That says, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry.
I was looking Lower Decks and they're still yelling at me.
The worst thing that could happen is that most of us try and pull that trick.
I still gotta finish watching Lower Decks.
All
right, folks. Check out Mecha Random's channel. Check out the Script Doctor. He does a lot of great reviews. Of course, he's been killing it with his Lower Deck reviews. And if you haven't already, check out the Volume 2 Rise of the Rebellion. Available now on Indiegogo. If you can go ahead and share that link if you want to, Steven. I don't have that one fresh and handy.
No problem. Thank you very much. Though, thank you to everybody that picked one up today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming and supporting the show.
I'm in it. If you want to know anything about me.
And don't forget who narrated Volume 1.
That's right. And if that's right. And if I'm able to sell enough books, I get to pay Rob. So you'll be helping us. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, hopefully you guys got some joy out of this in their suffering. I know Captain Hare got a little joy out of Rob's suffering.
We're glad to be able to offer a public service by letting you all enjoy our suffering. So, yeah.
I mean, I told these guys when we first started, I'm basically a koala in the rain at this point.
Koalas in the rain. Koalas in the rain. Koalas in the rain. No fucks given. Koala.
Zero fucks given. I'm so done with this show. Done. All right, folks. Hopefully you're not done with us and you'll join us here next week at the same sad time.
And before then, we'll be back again tomorrow, won't we, Tom?
Yes, with Midnight's Edge in the morning. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our guest is one Mr. Gary Tunnicliffe once again.
That is indeed correct. And then we will be hearing his take on the whole Cleopatra controversy. So that should be fun.
Cleopatra is my favorite cat. I'm the only one who knows that song, right? Nobody else does. Right?
Probably,
so, yeah.
That was like the only sort of hit that the Spin Doctors had on their second album.
Oh boy, there's a deep dive right there.
Very deep dive.
They had more than that one single.
They actually had like 3 singles off the first album, maybe 4, and then that second album they had 2, but neither one of them cracked the top 40 or 20, I think.
I saw them in 1992. Oh god, they were boring. Every freaking song sounded exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. All right, folks. Check out all these fine folks' channels. Check out the Phantom Menace Volume 2. Is the Volume 1 still available?
Volume 1's available with Volume 2, and the audiobook is available on Audible, narrated by the great Robot Shlomo. Really proud of that book.
The sultry sounds of Rob Shlomo.
How you doing out there? Hey, how's it going? Hey,
so thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks again for the super chats. Anything to say, Andre, before we go?
Thanks for joining us, and I hope that you got more enjoyment out of watching us than we did out of watching Star Trek.
Absolutely.